So our aim was to understand how trending news spread globally on Twitter. One of the key words in today's social media is viral. So what exactly makes these tweets go viral? In order to understand this, we made use of the following tools: the Twitter Stream API, Python language, MySQL database, and the BaseMap Matplot library to plot the points on the world map. This Python program monitors the tweet activity on a particular hashtag which is trending. On running this Python program and leaving it overnight, we are able to accumulate the data related to that particular hashtag, and we are able to redirect that into an output file. And as you can see, the result of the output would be something like this. So these are the collection of tweets that have used that particular hashtag while our Python program was running. By simply changing the hashtag, we would get another output accordingly. So in this way, we have collected data on particular hashtag instances in order to find out how information is spread.
Our read.py Python file takes locations from the tweets that have been generated and maps them to the latitudes and longitudes on the world map. So when we run the read.py, the result that we obtain is a graph wherein you will notice in chronological order the tweets that have been made across the world. As you can see, every time a tweet is made in a particular location, the retweets of that particular tweet happen pretty much in the same location before it moves to another location in the world. We have also generated a summation of all the tweets that have been tweeted around the world.
The main challenges that we faced in implementation were extracting latitude and longitude for a given location directly. There wasn't any particular API available for this. So we had to accumulate our worldwide coordinate data and then use it. And first tweets could never be obtained from a dump of any previous event. So we had to always run our Python on an upcoming event. So from our implementation, what were the conclusions that we were able to draw? Or what were the questions that we were able to answer? The first one was, what do people first find out when news starts spreading or when the initial tweet happens? What is the kind of information that is given out and how accurate is it to the actual event? To answer this question, we used a web resource called Topsy. In this website, we can give any particular hashtag and then sort the tweets that were made using that hashtag from their oldest in a particular time range. You also have the flexibility to choose the language in which the tweets have been made. These are the results that we observe. In case of the initial tweets, there is always a kind of fear that is riddled into what the tweet is saying. So this might not give out the exact accurate information. Here, as you can see, the scale is not accurate. In the case of the Boston bombings, initially person X was accused and then later it was verified by a reliable source. This was an individual who started such a tweet, but when the news channel was able to cover that particular story, then this tweet automatically died down and this survived throughout the course of the event. Hence, we were also able to conclude that the source of the tweet was pretty important in the way the tweet could survive throughout the lifetime. Next aspect to be answered was, when do users first get the news? Initially, we had set out with the assumption that depending upon how important the news is, it would have spread accordingly. Even though importance or the profound effect that it has its value in the speed of spreading for a particular news, it is not the only factor that dictates it, and hence our initial assumption doesn't hold good. Yet another factor to consider is, where does the news start from? Well, that depends on whether the event is an upcoming event or a natural event. Generally, in terms of a pre-planned event, the organizing committee or the body responsible for it, like the government or a producing organization or a cricket club, would publicize the event and the tweet would spread originally from that source. Whereas in case of a natural event, people who would have been present at that particular location or who are in close proximity of the place would be one of those first people that would spread the news. We also had to find out about what channels or social circles does the news spread take. Is there any center of importance?
The output of our read.py file is also a graph.csv which has a set of edges, and these edges are directed from a retweet to a tweet. Now, analyzing this graph in a graph visualization software called G5 will give us something like this. In order to find the strongly connected components, we use a different in degree color property And as you can see, you are clearly able to distinguish a strongly connected component using a different color. Now, to understand how news spreads using a weak link between strongly connected components in a graph, we do the following visualization. Here you can clearly see that all the strongly connected components have been separated, and the strongest connected component uses the weak link in between as a medium of news propagation from that particular component to another strongly connected component.
Is geographic proximity a major factor in news transmission? As we discussed, it completely depends on whether a tweet is based on an environmental event or a pre-planned event. In case of a pre-planned event, geographic proximity does not necessarily do anything with where the event is taking place. In order to answer the question of how a trending topic dies, we were able to arrive at this graph. On the x-axis, we have time, and on the y-axis, we have the number of tweets. As you notice, it peaks at a certain sub-event within the timeline of the whole tweet being spread, and then it eventually dies down. As you notice, the graph is not even. This is because the intensity of the sub-events varies. We come to the question of whether language plays an important role in spreading the news. Well, unless a local news channel is particularly telecasting for its viewers, we've noticed on Topsy that a lot of times English is the primary medium of communication for those initial tweets. By answering all of the above questions on the data that we've selectively extracted from the Twitter feed, we were able to understand how exactly information spreads and the time and extent according to the factors that we've discussed.